In this presentation, I will briefly introduce the principle of orthokeratology lens, followed by the correct lens design and the features. I'll show the fitting guides of our correct, and I have listed a few scenarios and troubleshooting for in case there's some issues when you treat the patients with orthocare lens. I will share the treatment schedule. Orthocare lens is meant to be worn overnight and removed in the morning. The corneal topography is reshaped with the tears underneath the lens. The main function of orthocare lens is to control the rate of myopia progression. And the second function is to improve the unaided vision, especially for young adults. They will be spectacle-free. Orthocare lenses are able to correct the refractive error between -1 to -4 diopter, and the cylinder power is half of the power. For oblique astig, it's recommended to be -0.75 or below. Let us look at the lens structure in cross-section. Correct has 4 major curves. It applies the reverse geometry design as well. The first curve is peripheral curve, which gives the space for tears exchange. And the second curve is fitting curve, which it matches the cornea and sits nicely on the cornea. The third curve is the reverse curve. It contains the tears and acts as a tears reservoir. And the fourth curve is the base curve, which flattens the cornea. Correct guarantees a very high level of safety for overnight wear. High oxygen permeability and transmissibility is very important because when the wearer sleeps, the lid closure will decrease the oxygen supply to the cornea. So our correct oxygen permeability DK is 156, DK over T is 78. The approved orthocare lens must have at least DK 100 and above. Correct has the flexible material based on the Torres original polymer technology. These lenses are worn by children, so they are encouraged to use a higher impact resistance during sleeping. So it won't crack easily, especially during sleeping time. Correct is specially designed for Asians. So Asians usually have a slightly flatter cornea than Caucasians. So we design in a way that shallower surgical depth and therefore a wider optical zone. So this is the inventory range that we have. So from the target power from -1 diopter up to -8 diopter, and the fitting curve from 40 diopter to 46 diopter. And the optimum fitting range is between -1 diopter to -4 diopter. So if you have a patient like -6 diopter, so this one is very dependent on the individual. So sometimes the fitting will be very successful. So this is the screening by topography. So before you do any treatment on the patients or let them to wear the lenses, you need to filter whether this patient is suitable for the treatment or not. So you can see this is the few examples for applicable eye. This is a very good shape of spherical corneal mapping, and this is a low astig, and the astig is not over the limbus. For non-applicable, we do not encourage them to proceed to the treatment, is because it is over the limbus. and this is a very high stick, so the result may not get very good. So before we start the treatment, we will need to choose the first piece of trial lens. So how do we do that? So these few steps you need to remember. The first step is to determine the fitting curve. So this is equal to the average K. So for example, if you have steep meridian 43.5 and a flat meridian of 41.5, so the average K is 42.5. You add up the numbers and divide by 2. The second step is to calculate the difference of fitting curve and the flatter meridian. So the fitting curve is 42.5. Flatter meridian is 41.5. So the difference is 1 diopter. The third step is we determine the target power by adding the difference to the myopia power. For example, if you have a patient whose spectacles power is minus 2.5, cylinder 0.75, so you add the difference into the myopia power minus 2.5 and it becomes minus 3.5. So the first piece of trial lens that you can choose is 42.5, target power minus 3.5, and the diameter is 10.6. So you will insert the fluorescent after you fit on the lens on the patients. You may see these few examples during the fitting sessions. So the first one you may see is maybe a flat pattern. So the treatment zone is here. The lens is slightly inferior. And the most important part is this tears is actually channeling from the reverse curve to the peripheral curve. It means the tears is leaking outside from the lens. So you might need to increase the fitting curve, slightly steepen it. If you see a pattern something like this, it means it's a steep pattern. So the pupil is not easily to be seen, and the tears under the lens is too much on the treatment zone. And the peripheral curve, the edge leaf is very narrow. So you need to flatten the lens by reducing the fitting curve. So here's the examples that you can see. All right, so the treatment zone is here and it's just slightly bigger than the pupil. So to prevent the young adults or the children to see halos or ghost images, especially at night. And then the surrounding part is the reverse curve, the tears reservoir. And following part is the fitting curve. So there's a few microns of tears underneath this part. And following part is the peripheral curve, which allows the tears exchange. And now this is a steep fitting. Okay, so this pupil here is not easily seen. The tears is too much, and the peripheral curve is too narrow. And this is the flat pattern. So you can see the tears from the reverse curve is actually going to the peripheral curve. So in the condition of if you see the fluorescence is good, the lens is in the center, but you will get a residual Rx after the treatment. Okay, so you may need to increase or decrease the target power. So for example, if you have a residual Rx of -1, so you need to increase 1 step or 2 steps to make it plano. So if you see the fitting is steep or flat, so you need to reduce the fitting curve or increase the fitting curve. To make it steeper, you increase. So usually when we make the curves flatter, so we will reduce slightly the target power. So if you ask me whether it can maintain the target power but reducing the fitting curve, is it possible? Yes, it is possible too. This is just a general guideline that you can refer to. So after done the fluorescent pattern, then the most useful tool is our topographer. So it shows how it changed from the beginning towards the entire treatment. So it gives you more information about the centration, the treatment zone, size, the location of the treatment zone. So from the beginning, so this is a spherical corneal mapping. After 1 week of wearing the Ortho-K lens, you can see the within the pupil area, is from yellow change to green color. It means the center part of the cornea is actually flattened already. After 1 month, the color changed even green, more green. So it means it's compressed even more. After 3 months, the colors remains like almost the same. So it means the treatment is actually successful and it gives very good result to the wearers. So this is the tangential map that we often use to see the cornea, how it changed locally. So each point is tangent to the surface compared to axial map. The axial map gives a general power that we refer to. In some corneal topographer, it shows instantaneous curvature. It will show how the shape changes locally and how center the treatment is. Usually we will see in a blue or red rings. So difference map is very useful. It can show you how the power changed from the beginning stage until the latest treatment. Okay, and it can show the treatment zone position and the treatment zone size. So this is what we commonly can see using the corneal topographer. So the first one you may see in a bullseye. This is what we want to see from the patients during the treatment. And you might face a central island or decentration, either vertical or lateral. For vertical decentration, if the lens is at a decenter superior, it will show a smiley face on the topograph. If the lens is decenter inferior, it will show a frowny face. So this is the examples of the bullseye pattern. So you can see within the pupil. So this is the treatment zone size. And this is the red rings is actually the reverse curve, which has the tears is deepened very fast. So the centration is very good. This is what we want to see during the treatment. So this is the result of from the difference map. So you can see how from the beginning change to the latest, and this is how it changed. So if you face a central island here, surrounding by a blue color, like a sea color, it means the fitting is too steep. You need to reduce the fitting curve, loosen the fitting. So this is the example if the lens is high riding, the center superior. So you will see a smiley face here. So the top part, the ring part is missing. So this suggests the fitting is too flat. So you need to increase or stiffen the fitting. So this is the example of frowny face. So the superior is more red than bottom part. Okay, and you can see the lens is actually not equal to this black ring, so slightly inferior. So this suggests that the fitting is too steep. You need to reduce the fitting curve. So this is a general guideline for the treatment appointment schedule. So for the first day, usually we'll do a basic interview or help the patients to understand how it gonna works, and if they can proceed to the selection for the patients, whether they're suitable or not. You will undergo refraction, topography scan, and you will trial fit them. So then they will take back the lens and overnight sleep. After that, the second morning, they will come in with the lens in. So you will need to change the lens during this time. So if everything is okay, then they will come back to see you 1 week time. So this time you will loan the trial lenses to them, okay? And within a month, if everything is okay, they are satisfied, they know how to use the lens, they can start purchasing the lens. Then you will take back the loan set. So they will start the treatment. So you can schedule the appointment after 3 months. If everything is okay, then you can longer it a bit, 6 months. So repeats order, usually they will replace the lens after 1 year or maximum 2 years. So for the refitting part, so if during the trial lens period, within the 1 month period, you will need to change the lens if there is a treatment zone dislocation or treatment zone size is not enough or too much. So if you think that everything is the fitting is okay, but just the residual RX is not too good, it's not still not what you expected. So please be patient and wait for the results. So if anything, please change the trial lens with different parameters. So if you want to refit after confirmation of purchasing the lens, so don't be panic first. First, you can compare the previous result and the latest result, how it changed from 1 month and 3 months. Okay. So if initially the fitting is actually very good and the residual RX is actually not that bad, the visual acuity is not that bad, try to find the causes. Okay. Maybe the sleeping time is not enough, or the lenses between two eyes are inverted, or maybe some children actually do not wear the lens, but they tell you they actually wear the lens every night. So you need to find the causes. So if let's say everything is normal, but just the fitting is not good, so we can advise the patients to stop wearing the lens for about 1 to 2 weeks. Let the cornea back to what it's supposed to be. If the power is slightly higher, for example, -5 diopter, so you might need to take a longer, even up to 1 month. Okay. Then after that, everything restart and fit like the new case. Then you do the refit process. So this is the case study that you can see. Initially, the cornea curvature is 43 diopter, and after consistent wearing, the cornea curvature is actually reduced. So this is what the corneal tomography changed from the initial stage to the latest stage. So AutoCare lens is very effective in myopia controlling, myopia management. So it's widely acceptable by all countries. So this is one of the top choices they will start with AutoCare lens for myopia management. Okay, so summary, Breath Correct has a very high oxygen permeability, DK156, and it is very good for ensure the eye health safety. And The high durability is beneficial for the patient handling and sleeping time. Breath Correct is designed for Asians. So this is a very easy to fit on young adults and even children. Okay.